Tamaar stitches. So today I want to show us how to draft a mixed ankara airline short gown with bias finishing. If you are joining us for the first time, you are highly welcome. I want to appreciate all my subscribers. Thank you very much for being there. Like I always say, no knowledge is a waste. We appreciate you all. And if you're just viewing my channel for the first time, please press that subscription button and subscribe with Tamaar Stitches. You will never lack. It's always fun to learn. Presently, our new office has been opened and is in Ogba Multipurpose Shopping Plaza, 2nd floor, A214. I'm going to leave our address on the screen running down there. If you look, you're going to see it there. If you want to walk in, sell fabrics, we train, and we can sew. If you don't want to learn, you can actually patronize us. Tamaar Stitches will always be there. So let's get started. Let's get to the working table. Neckline, I'm going to be using 2 to 3 yards of ankara fabric, and I'm going to be combining it with this. That's why we call it mixed ankara fabric, but it's mainly for the front. So to get started, I'm going to first cut the back before cutting the front. It's better to use a pattern paper so you'll be able to get exactly what you want. So I'm going to be throwing it in a bias form, which I already taught you. Just throw it like an angle form. I just did that. Just throw it. You can see if you look here, it's not equal. Just throw it in a bias form and we'll cut with the back. It's a short gown. Don't forget to subscribe with us. So I have thrown it in a bias form. You can see that again. I'm sure by now, if you're watching my video, you get all those things. Sorry, let me turn the back. So now I've thrown it in a bias form. Like I said, it's in a triangle form, but not full circle, so it's like half slanted. So here's my starting line. Here's my starting line. So we get, here is the shoulder. The starting line is where the shoulder will be placed. From the shoulder line, I'll get my armhole length, which is 9 inches, slant of 1 inch. Then from there, I'll get my half length, 17 inches. Then I get the full length. It's a short gown, so let's get the full length. Full length is 42 plus hemming allowance. Everything will be 42. Okay. 42. Now with this, I'm going to be inserting zip at the back. So I'm going to make provision for that before cutting the front. Cutting this now, if I'm using a pattern paper, would have been easier. If you don't want to waste material, it would be better use a pattern paper. But for here now, I'm just going to mark it in a way that I don't waste much of my material. So let me insert my zip allowance of 1.5. Make it down. So I've inserted my zip allowance. You could just fold it in if you want, or you can still remember to cut it and be careful. So I'm folding in my zip allowance just under in it. Just folding in my zip allowance. So let's insert the shoulder measurement. The shoulder I'm using is 16 divided by 2 will give you 8 inches. Mark that. Come down to the chest line, same 8 inches. Connect that. Don't forget a 1 inch slant here. For the purpose of this clothes, I'm not going to be cutting the neckline now until I'm done with the front first. So come to our chest line, insert our chest line, the bust divided by 4 plus the allowance plus the sewing allowance. Give it a curve, the armhole curve. Then you insert your waist divided by 4 plus sewing allowance. Then you come to the hip, same thing. Divide by 4 plus sewing allowance. Because it's an airline, so we'll give it that straight airline curve. Just give enough allowance so that when you cut off, you still have excess. You can now retrim it back. So let me cut it off. For the hem, I have 19.5 as the hemming. So that's how free I want it to be. Aid it out very well. Looking at this now, we've not cut the neck, we have not even cut the shoulder slant, and we've folded in our 1.5 inch for zip allowance. This is it. Let me give a notch. This is for the back. So I'm going to be using this back to cut the front. I've placed the back. I folded in the 1.5 inch zip allowance inside, and then I placed it to cut the front now. So I'm going to be cutting the front, but because I'm cutting direct, I'm going to be giving some extra allowance because I'm going to be joining the center with a different material. So I'm going to be giving some allowances here, so by the time I'm done trimming, it will balance and sit in well, just fit in with the back. So let me cut it off now. So looking at this now, you will notice that I left some extra allowance of 1/2 inch all the way down for the front pattern body. So I'm going to be moving this back now so we can start the work in the front. The style is mainly in the front. So here's our front pattern. But let me give you a small illustration of what I'm trying to achieve, in case the colors here are matching up. So, assuming this is the full material you want to use, you slant it like this to get the body. You put your shoulder measurement, put your armhole, consider. Then now here is the airline. Okay, so let me cut it off. Just pay attention. Now this is what I have now for the front. The only difference with the front and the back is that 1, I didn't cut the neck, and 2, the zip allowance attached to the back. So for the front now, what I need to do is to measure the ankara I'll be mixing. The inch of ankara, I want to start from the neckline. So from the neckline, I can take 1 inch here. I come to the armhole, I take 1.5 or 2 inches. Then I come to the waistline, same 2 inches. Then I get to the hem of the gown, I can take like 4 inches. So I now connect it like this. Connect it like this. Make sure it's not too wide. See that? So once I have something like this now, I'm going to be cutting it off now. Now this is the armhole side. Now this is what I cut off. So this is what I'm going to use to replace with a different ankara, which is this that I'm using. So that is what's going to be in the center this now. By the time you open it, it's meant to be like this at the center. See that? So let me cut it here. Hope this explains it. So now, here is my front, like I said earlier on. So here is the front now. So I'm going to show you exactly what I just did now. So from the neckline, I'll be taking 1.5 inch. Or let's say I'll be using 1 inch, just 1 inch. So I'll mark 1 inch here. I'll come to my armhole. I'll mark 1.5 inch. I'll come to the waistline here. I'll take in 2.5 inches. I'll come to the hip line here. I'll take 3.5 inches, and I'll come to the hem and I'll take 5 inches. See that? So let me join them so that you can see what I just did. Joining them now. It's not going to be straight, it's going to be slanted also. It's going to be slanted. So joining them. Now this is what I have. You can see that. If you want, you can extend yours to 6 inches. It all depends on you. So I'm going to cut this off now. Then we'll now start the work of replacing it with the other ankara fabric. So I've cut it off. This is one I'm combining with the main body. So I'm going to take it to the machine now and join the two sides. Let me open it up so you can see. This is how it's meant to look, like this. See that how beautiful is already looking. So first I'm going to be using bias in the center to stitch it down. So let's go to the machine and see how to attach the first bias in the center. Two ways. You can decide to cut this into two, or you can decide to still stitch it on it like that. Just make sure you get the center. So let's get to the machine and see. So I've ironed it to get the center. So I'm going to stitch it a little, just a little, not much, not less than a quarter. I'm going to stitch it all the way down before I insert my black bias here. Now I'm giving it a very little stitch here. Cut off all my excess thread. You can see now, so I'm going to be inserting my bias. You know it has two folded edges here. I'm going to place the first one here and stitch and use it to cover the other parts. So do I place it, that folded edge. So I'm done attaching the first side. I'm going to turn it like this, so top stitch second part on the other side. So you can see how beautiful it looks. I'll now give it a beautiful press, and it will be very flat. You can see it's already flat. So I'm going to be using the same technique to attach the two sides, and I'll show you. Attach the first side. You can see that. You can see the bias in the center. So I'm going to be attaching the second part now. Here is our second part. And if you look at the back, you wouldn't even see any stitches. That's because of the way we attach it. So I'm going to show you now. So you get the other side, and here is the front part. You are stitching towards the front. So I'm going to hold these two together. This is the front. Normally we stitch with the back, but with this style we stitch with the front. So this is the front and the front. This is the back facing the back. So this, I'm holding it. I take my bias, place your bias like this. The folded parts, the iron part, you place it on it. I'm going to use it to stitch it all, join it, three of them, join them all the way down. So I'm going to place it now. You can see that, so I'm stitching one, the bias, the front and the front, the back facing the back. So that's what I'm stitching now. Three of them together. So I'm going to stitch it all the way down. Three we are stitching together, like I said. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, give us thumbs up, and watch the video to the letter. See that? So when you first stitch, this is how it's going to look. You can see this is open, everything is open. So I'm going to use this part of the bias to stitch on it like this, and now stitch it down. That's what I'm going to do now. That looks. So I'm taking it to the table now, so I can now cut the neck to whatever size we want. So here you've seen how beautiful it looks. So what we need to do now is just to cut our neckline. So I'm just going to fold it into two. Fold it into two and cut. We already have the center already. So I just want to cut the neckline, the front and the back neckline. Okay. So the shoulder is 8 inches. Mark the shoulder. Just ensure that everything is equal as it's meant to be. So now here's our shoulder. The neckline I want to use here is 3 inches. So mark that 3 inches. The neck depth is, for the front, I'm using 5 inches. You can use 5, you can use 4. You don't want it to be that deep. You can use 4, you can use 3. Don't forget that shoulder slack, we've not cut it already. So now join it. See that? For the back, I'm using just 1 inch. The back neckline, I'm using 1 inch. Just ensure to set it well. So let me place the back on it. Don't forget to have the zip allowance. So I folded in the zip allowance under so that I can cut the neckline very well. You can see that. So I've cut the back neckline, so I'll now cut the front neckline. So all I need to do now, take it to the machine, join the shoulders and join the body and insert my pocket. And our mix ankara flare gown is done. If this tutorial has been helpful, give us a thumbs up, share our video, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel and press the notification bell so that anytime we upload any new video, you'll be notified immediately. Thank you for watching. Bye. Stay safe.